I've been determined since I was young to serve my country, soar in the skies, and contribute to the defense of my nation. I hope to find more excellent young women to join us, the female pilots. In July 2025, Chinese state media promoted a story about a girl from Changchun, Jilin Province, who received an admission notice from the Air Force Aviation University. She became the only female flight student accepted from Jilin Province that year. The head and a team member from the female pilot squad personally delivered the notice to her. This should have been an inspirational story, but it sparked a storm online. The recruitment standards for pilots in China are very strict, with even a small scar being grounds for disqualification. Yet in the video, the girl has squinted eyes, crooked teeth, and uneven shoulders. Netizens quickly checked the Air Force's recruitment requirements, which state that candidates cannot have squinting eyes or misaligned teeth. Adding to the controversy is the fact that her father is an alumnus of the Air Force Aviation University, leading many to suspect that she got in because of her father's connections. The blank space for the reporting date on the admission letter further fueled these suspicions, with some mocking the lack of detail, saying they couldn't even bother to write the date. Some netizens bluntly stated that her admission was all about using her father's influence. China is a country where connections matter. Without a good father, it's nearly impossible to secure a good job. One netizen revealed that they have a friend in China who works in sports. Regardless of how their child performs academically, they will always get into a top university. This is because, with a national level or provincial level sports certificate, a student can get into a prestigious university with scores as low as 200 or 300 on the college entrance exam. For instance, if a father is a coach for the provincial soccer or basketball team, he can arrange for his child to participate in a competition, get a national sports certificate, and gain entry into a good school. Meanwhile, other children who study hard every day may still end up with much lower scores. In China, the CCP hereditary privilege is already the norm. With the ongoing changes in China's economic and social structure, many feel it's becoming increasingly difficult for ordinary people to succeed through hard work. The social class structure in China has become rigid, with fewer opportunities for children from lower income families to rise. The inheritance of privilege is a reality that will likely persist. This system now relies on three primary factors: maternal and infant transmission, bloodline transmission, and sexual transmission. Maternal and infant transmission means that a child's parents are in certain industries, and the child can easily enter the same field and get a good job. Bloodline transmission is about officials in the CCP system helping their relatives secure good jobs. Sexual transmission means that a pretty girl or handsome boy willing to sacrifice themselves might quickly be promoted after a relationship with a powerful leader. Meanwhile, truly capable individuals may easily lose their jobs or income, and ability is no match for connections. In a video shared on April 3, 2024, a young boy talking about his dreams sparked public attention. The boy, sitting in class, said, "I want to be the president of the China Agricultural Development Bank, just like my father, because my grandfather is the president, and my mother is the vice president, so I want to inherit our family business." The video quickly ignited public discussion, with netizens commenting, "Wow, he's already thinking about inheriting the bank as his own family property." Someone else said, "Some people are born into wealth, while others are born to work." A legal blogger pointed out, the child's statement doesn't imply any wrongdoing on the part of the family, but it does reveal a societal phenomenon. The concept of family inheritance and oversight exists in industries like electricity, tobacco, banking, oil, and gas. It was reported that the young boy's mother is the head of the Agricultural Development Bank's office in Changchun City, Anhui Province, while his father is the branch head of the same bank in Guangdong City. His grandfather, before retiring, was the branch head of the Agricultural Development Bank in Jingde County. My grandfather and father were both part of a tax family, and I grew up being surrounded by a strong tax environment. Influenced by this from a young age, after graduation, I chose to take up the baton from my father and grandfather, continuing the tax tradition in our family. On April 30th, 2024, a female tax worker in Shanghai sparked outrage during a Chinese Communist Youth League event. Local authorities responded vaguely. It is well known that the tax department is a highly lucrative area for the CCP, and this woman's Zhang's proud display of her family's 3 generations in tax work ignited controversy. Netizens quickly responded, mocking the CCP's hereditary privilege and lamenting the hopeless future for the common people. On March 24, 2025, the Changsha City Education Bureau in Hunan Province held a press conference. They announced what they called reforms to the middle school entrance exam system. One of the proposed changes included providing preferential educational policies for children of high-level talents starting in 2025. These children would be treated separately and not included in the general college entrance exam. The policy quickly sparked public anger. On the social media platform Bilibili, many commenters criticized the government for unfairly treating students differently, with some accusing the government of openly promoting parental influence. Comments included, "Who defines high-level talent?" and "This is the inheritance of top students." The Changsha authorities later explained that the policy meant children of high-level talents would no longer take up spots in the general admission pool, which, according to them, was a good thing for ordinary students. However, many netizens disagreed, pointing out that if these children took up spots in top schools, there would be fewer places for regular students. Others noted that children of high-level talents had long enjoyed preferential treatment, with the difference now being that it was made more public. During the 2019 CCP National Day Military Parade, several floats featured descendants of CCP revolutionaries, holding portraits of their ancestors. On the 70th anniversary of the CCP's rise to power, the parade and public procession showed the descendants of leaders like Mao Zedong, Zhu De, Zhou Enlai, Chen Yun, and Deng Xiaoping sitting on floats, proudly displaying their family's history. Some observers jokingly refer to this as flower cart privilege, pointing out that not only ordinary students, but also the CCP's descendants rely on their families' backgrounds. Reports have noted that, compared to those born in the 1970s, children from lower-class families born in the 1980s have fewer opportunities. Only 7.3% of children from impoverished backgrounds reach the top 20% of society, compared to nearly 10% of those born in the 1970s. This gap represents millions of people. In 1990, around 22% of students at Tsinghua University came from rural areas. But by 2016, that number had dropped to just 10.2%. The problem of social mobility in the CCP system is becoming more severe, making it increasingly difficult for children from poor or rural families to succeed. A university student from a poor region in Guizhou expressed his pessimism about the future. As an employee at a quality control company in Ningbo, he earns nearly 7,000 RMB per month. However, this salary is still not enough to afford a home or get married. Similarly, a 25-year-old named Zhang, working at a state-owned enterprise in Beijing, shared that even with strong support from his parents, his income is insufficient to buy his own home in Beijing. The financial pressure prevents him from achieving the lifestyle he desires. In 2022, China created 50% of the world's new billionaires, but at the same time, Premier Li Keqiang confirmed that more than 600 million Chinese people earned less than $140 per month on average. The deepening class divide in China under the CCP's rule has led to a growing wealth inequality. In response to this class rigidity, have adopted a lifestyle known as lying flat as a form of silent protest. In another incident, the China University of Geosciences in Beijing published a list of candidates for administrative positions, which included remarks about their family and mentor backgrounds. This sparked public backlash. The list was later removed. The list revealed that 8 individuals had passed the preliminary interview, with 6 of them being on the government-funded contract. In particular, a doctoral student named Zhang Boaiqi had a note about his father being the Director of Development Planning and Discipline Construction. Another candidate, Ji Taotao, had a note about a postdoctoral supervisor, Jiang Xiaowei, listed in his remarks section. Zhang Shouting, the father of Zhang Boaiqi, is a professor and doctoral supervisor at the School of Earth Sciences and Resources at the China University of Geosciences. He has held several significant positions, including Vice Dean of the Graduate School and Executive Vice Dean. The list generated significant criticism online. Netizens mocked the situation, with one commenting, "Many high-paying monopoly positions are inherited within families, and it's hard to break into the circle from the outside." Another sarcastically noted, 3 generations of tobacco, 3 generations of electricity, 3 generations of energy, and 3 generations at the China University of Geosciences. The spirit of dedication is admirable. Some netizens investigated Zhang Bo-aiqi's academic background and revealed that during his college entrance exam, Zhang scored poorly in Beijing and ended up attending a third-tier university in Jiangxi Province. However, thanks to his father's connections, he later transferred to the China University of Geosciences. After facing difficulties obtaining his graduation certificate, Zhang was arranged to study abroad at the University of Waterloo in Canada. Later, he was sent back after failing his English preparatory course. He was then arranged by his father to study for a doctorate at a university in Japan. Eventually, through further connections, he managed to receive a PhD title. The public exposure of his background led some to comment on social media. A person who skips class, smokes, and brags about gambling is able to become a professor. No wonder Chinese universities have professors like Huang Feiruo. In early 2024, Professor Huang Feiruo from the Animal Science and Technology College at Huazhong Agricultural University was reported for multiple issues, including academic fraud and unethical behavior. 11 graduate students, including both master's and PhD students from his research group, filed a joint real name report, sparking widespread attention from academia and the public. This incident became a typical case of academic misconduct at Chinese universities, exposing problems such as the abuse of power by mentors, data falsification, and violations of student rights. On February 7, 2023, reporters highlighted a notice from the Yangtze Design Group, which had posted a list of candidates for recruitment. Among the candidates, Zhang Xiran was listed, with a note specifying that she's the daughter of Chen Jing, the head of the group's party and mass work department. It was also noted that Zhang graduated from the University of Nottingham. The following morning, when reporters called the Human Resources and Audit Department, they received no response. Upon checking the notice again, the company had modified Zhang's entry, adding a note explaining that according to regulations, the background of children of senior leaders, including spouses and children of key officials, must also be made public. The disclosure triggered widespread debate, with some Hong Kong media calling it an example of openly going through the back door.
Why does the school need to collect information about parents' workplaces? With the new school term starting, I believe many parents like me received a notice in the class group asking us to fill out a form with basic information about the students. Asking for details like hometown, household registration, parent phone numbers, and home addresses seem normal, but why are they asking for information about parents' workplaces? The Ministry of Education clearly stated in a notice on April 1, 2022, that schools are strictly prohibited from collecting information about parents' job positions and income. Therefore, schools have no right to ask parents to provide such information when enrolling students. Some parents say that when the school asks us about their profession, it's actually trying to figure out which child has connections and which child is easy to push around. One parent said that when asked for information, they wrote, "A designated person from my workplace will pick up my child." Another parent said that when asked for other details, they filled in, "Please sign a confidentiality agreement at my workplace first." Yet another parent said that the child's school had also asked for this information. The father listed his work at a provincial department, and the mother listed a confidential unit. After that, the school and teachers treated the child much better.
China's wealthy and politically connected families continue to dominate opportunities for success. This trend of nepotism and political connections has led to a growing frustration among ordinary citizens. For example, in June 2022, an article in China Tax News highlighted the 3 generations of tax workers from the Chen family in Guangdong Province. The state-owned media outlet People's Railway Network published an article about a family with 3 generations working in the railway sector. In the same month, Henan Daily published an article titled 3 Generations of Tobacco Workers, Inheritance and Vigilance.
3 generations of tobacco workers, 3 generations of railway workers, 3 generations of electricity grid workers, 3 generations of tax officials. These so-called honorable career legacies have recently been criticized by many. In reality, this kind of career legacy, especially when it's within one's own family, is far from honorable. These jobs are now fiercely competitive, with people fighting tooth and nail for them, and they're seen as iron rice bowls, jobs that everyone desperately wants, even if they have to push others aside to get them. Now, people are still using the phrase 3 generations of such and such to promote these jobs. Is that really something to be proud of? Do they really have the audacity to say it out loud? What's even more crucial is that many of these jobs require connections to get in, So when they call it honorable, it's truly shameless. And using the term inheritance is even more shameless. It's more like hereditary succession. So, how do these people get these jobs? How do they manage to pass on these positions for 3 generations? Was it really through formal exams? Were they really hired through proper interviews? You know the answer.
Despite the CCP's claims of representing and serving the people, in practice, it has continued to exploit and oppress the Chinese people, building an ever-growing divide between the elites and the rest of society. The optimism that once supported the idea of personal effort and social mobility is rapidly collapsing, and the phenomena of nepotism intensifies. According to the Ministry of Education, by 2025, more than 30% of students at top universities were children of high-ranking officials. In the first half of 2025, China's youth unemployment rate exceeded 20%, contributing to a widespread sense of powerlessness and frustration. The core of nepotism lies in the protection of privileges, under the monopoly of resources, a system that perpetuates itself across generations. In the face of economic divides, educational inequalities, and the monopolization of capital and administrative resources, where does that leave ordinary people?